Hello, Mark. How are you?
Hey, what's up, Dr. Gene? How you been?
I have been good. Here we are, another Tuesday edition of Getting Certified, our weekly talk show where we talk about the RBLP leadership certifications. We talk about the certifications themselves, how to get certified,
Mhm.
anything and everything having to do with earning
All
one of our
things.
leadership certifications is what we talk about on
That's
Tuesdays.
right.
We call this show Getting Certified for obvious reasons. We're broadcasting today live on LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram, and I think Twitter, maybe. No, YouTube, not Twitter, YouTube. And the copy of this, the recording of this show will be stored on the RBLP Leadership Certifications YouTube channel. You'll also be able to find it on our Spotify channel
Mhm.
and on iHeart Radio
Yep.
as well. So kind of getting out there all over the place, right?
Mhm.
So in the last 3 weeks we've been talking about the resilience building leadership competency domains. The competency domain is a grouping of leader tasks that are all related, conceptually related, right? And there are five um, competency domains as part of our program. And for the last 3 weeks, we've talked about three out of those five. We covered create a positive climate, develop cohesion, provide purpose. And this week, we're talking about facilitate team learning, which is facilitate experiential team learning. That is how teams learn from their experience to get better and better at what they do in the workplace. Right, Mark?
Yes, that is correct. Very important.
Yep. And so there it is right there. Do you have your glasses on? Can you read that? I don't have my reading glasses on.
Let me peek at it and see if I can see it. When people work together as a team, they create shared experiences that can come that they can learn from. Right. So that's what's supposed to be happening. Managers can coach teams through the experiential learning cycle by ensuring that they reflect on their experiences to assess performance and find ways to improve, innovate, and change. As teams develop new ideas, managers will approve those and prioritize those ideas. Most importantly, managers ensure that the new ideas get put into action and get tested.
So this is talking about getting around that experiential learning cycle for teams, right? And so the first leader task, there are four tasks in this particular competency domain. People may remember that there were 7 tasks each in the first 3 competency domains. There are only 4 in this one, but each one is kind of twice as important as a normal task. So they're big, more important tasks. These are tasks that experienced managers are accomplishing in the workplace, and so these are big, important tasks and fairly complicated. So the first one here is leader task 1, which is analyze team learning capacity or experiential team learning capacity, the team's capacity to learn from its experience, right?
Mhm.
So, you taught the course, the prep training, lots of times to folks. When how do you explain to people about why this process of facilitating experiential team learning is important? How does that mean? Can't we just? I mean, some people just go to work and do the same thing day in and day out without ever trying to improve what they do, right? But is that
Right,
really a good thing?
right, right. Yeah, no, you're spot on because the truth is you can go and we can just kind of like the old Dunkin' Donuts commercial where the guy wakes up and goes, "Time to make the donuts." Done making the donuts. There's nothing that's being improved upon, right? No one's looking at anything. And what you'll notice is most people have seen this in their career that there are always competitors in your industry, right? So if you're not figuring out a way to make it better, more efficient, use technologies, whatever the case may be, they'll pass you by. and they will be the front runner, right? So teams should always not be satisfied with just the status quo. Well, it's good enough for government work. Okay, but we need to get better and better at what we do to get more efficient, more effective at what we do. That can bring more customers. That can also perhaps allow us to do things more efficiently for customers or for our teams. So leaders really have to spearhead this. And I like the conversation that we always have about, when we talk about going through the experiential learning cycle or facilitate team learning, facilitate experiential team learning. And, and people always ask, I teach my people, I train all the time. Do you really dig into it and say, okay, how did that go? Section 1, section 2, section 3, what did you see? Well, I saw this. I didn't see any of that. Okay, well, what's going on over there? I've literally worked for people, true story, who we finished an event and there was 5 sections and said, well, I think we should get this out as a team and kind of discuss this and go, well, let's take a vote. How many people think it went well? 3 people raised their hand. How many people think there were some glitches or whatever? 2 people raised their hand. Well, 3-2, the threes win. That's it. We're going to wrap up for tonight. And what? So yeah, it's important to get in there.
That right there would be an example of not moving to the reflecting stage, right? Like there's nothing to see here, right?
Right. That's it. We're good. Let's wrap it up. I'm going home. So there was no reflecting whatsoever.
So reflecting is getting the team together to reflect on the experience, right? To ask those questions. What we do well, what we do not so well, how could we improve, with the intent of eventually making a decision, right? That's this next bullet here about deciding. Know why deciding is important. So we know why reflecting is important. If you can't talk about what you did,
right,
you certainly are not going to be able to make a decision to improve. So when we move down to deciding, Mark, so deciding to change, deciding to do something different based on the team's reflections of what's going on. That deciding part isn't always so easy, though, is it?
No, it's not. Because some of those things may be a budget has to be considered, or we can't just add a new 6300 system because it's that's not in the budget, and whatever the case may be. But we don't throw it away. Right. So we list it there, and then we need to check into that. We need to get more information, more details from higher headquarters or whatever. But it's not because we didn't say, yep, that's a thing we probably need. It's getting more and more like that, and lean into it. But there are some things, even at a lower level, that the leader can say, you know what, that's a great idea. Let's change that. Let's give that a try. We're going to be doing this in another 2 weeks. Let's see how that works. And then
there's some nuance to this decision making, right? Some decisions can be made at a local level.
Yep.
By a team leader to say, this is what we're going to do differently. Let's put that into action. Other decisions may require higher levels of approval. Like, yes, we're slapping the table. Yep. This is what we're going to do. Now let's send it up to corporate and see if they agree, and will let us do that, because I actually need the regional, I'm not the final yes on this. I need 1 or 2 more levels that can hold the process up of those experiential team learning, right? If you can't make a decision on whatever that change is that you wanted to do, that new way of doing things, a new process, that new procedure, that change to a product or service, if you can't make a decision, then you're not gonna you can't put anything into action, right?
No, not at all.
Yeah. Sometimes people want too much information before they make a decision, right? Right. You've seen that before, right?
Right. Well, we're gonna take a nap on this one. I'm gonna think about it over the next 3 months.
Yeah, we're gonna table this until we get a little bit more data or a little bit more info. What is that? People say a decision. Decision now. With 80% of the information could be better than a decision later with 90% or, something to that. The idea being that speed and tempo and outcycling your competitors in the market and so forth. Sometimes you need to make a decision based on a limited amount. People are also risk averse, right? They
Very
might have
much
all
true.
the information they need, but they're just sort of afraid to take to make a decision that might be wrong. And that's not the experiential learning cycle, right, Mark, is not meant, every decision made after thoughtful reflection is not meant to be 100%, right? I mean,
No,
leaders have to assume some risk there, right?
absolutely. Absolutely. And you need to measure that risk and think it through. Fair enough. I have no problem with that. But when things linger month after month and 6 months later, it's still broken and it's still behind and we're still losing ground. Look, you need to pull the Band-Aid off and do something because nothing is not working. We figured that out. So
Right.
let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens.
So once we make a decision, the next bullet here is talking about why acting is so important. That's the
Mm-hmm.
next stage, right? So
Right.
there's the experience, followed by reflecting, and then
Mm-hmm.
deciding, and now acting. We've got to put the decision into action. Whatever we
Right.
decided on has to be implemented, right? It has
Mm-hmm.
to. You're essentially testing
Yeah.
the new idea, testing the decision. There's some risk here. No
Mm-hmm.
guarantee that what you've changed is going to work. You think it
All
might,
right.
but there are things you didn't foresee, right? And so we have to. This acting stage is the next step in the cycle. Now, sometimes the the people that did the reflecting and the deciding are not the same people that do the acting, right? So
Right.
maybe frontline workers may be the ones putting the new decision, implementing the new decision, putting it into place, doing the process differently, the procedure differently,
Mm-hmm.
and so this is where acting can fail for reasons like not getting buy-in from the people
Right.
that are actually required to implement. Right? I'm
Yeah.
certain you've seen that.
Mm-hmm. Dragging their feet, not really taking the lead, putting it off. Yeah, we're going to get on that. And here you are, 4 or 5 weeks later, you still have the same problem. No one
Right.
taking a single step. And, and this is the thing is that, and you made this point a moment ago, which is there's no guarantee this is the magic fix of all things. But here's what it is. It is better than the hot garbage we're working with right now.
Right.
And we're going to move up a step by step by step. And there's no such thing. And this always cracks me up. We just need to think on it for about 6 months and we'll have it all fixed with no issues. I got a newsflash. That's not even how life works. Okay.
Right.
You move a little bit closer to it, a little bit closer, and you keep working at it. But that's where this step right here is really critical. I mean, you have to act on it. You can't just sit around and just hum about it. It's not going to fix anything.
Yeah, and you might get pushed. That's why we call this a coaching process, of a
That's right.
workplace coaching process. That the manager, as coaches, workplace coaches, got to, after that decision is made, has to ensure that teams take action per this decision. If we're hearing things like, "Well, it's not broke. I don't know why we're trying to fix it," or "That's not the way we
Right.
have always done it," or "That's not the way we do it around here," or this sort of passive aggressive, sometimes half-ass attempt at getting the work done in a new way, doesn't really give the decision the opportunity it might deserve to see if it actually improves or fixes the thing that we're trying to improve. Right. Some techniques to get better buy-in is to potentially include, so if the people that are going to be implementing, doing the acting stage of this cycle, right? If the implementers, the people that are going to actually have to change and do things differently, including them in the reflection and deciding,
Right.
Or at least key members of that community in the reflecting and deciding can help overcome some of the objections. If they felt like they had buy-in, right?
Right. And they have a vote. They have a voice. And because any leader who thinks I have all the answers and all the ideas, first of all, you probably need to take out a medical plan with the company and get some therapy because that's not even true.
Right.
You don't have all the answers. That's why you have a team, right? And people see things from different perspectives. But it's kind of interesting because people say, well, that didn't turn out like we wanted at all. But you know what happened? You're right. But we learned. We
Right.
learned that's off the list. We're not going down that road anymore. Let's try a different one. What else could we do? And you'll keep going. You'll hit the jackpot. Trust me.
Right. That's why they call this. It's called an experiential learning cycle, right? You're going to learn from the experience. You're either going to learn that something worked, or it doesn't work, or it kind of works. So the learning occurs. Success and learning are not the same things, right? You don't have to
absolutely not
hit a home run every at bat to learn from every at bat. You learn when you strike out as well, right? And so the last bullet here is about bias for action. And so bias for action is this ability to move from decision to action, right? It's some teams, some leaders have what we call a bias for action, and that is they're willing to make decisions, to realize when they've got enough information to make a decision, make that decision in a timely manner, and then put that decision into action wholeheartedly, a good effort, not half-heartedly, but to give it a shot. And that's a bias for action, right? And that's what sets the leader apart from the manager. In this case, this is what workplace coaching is all about. This is a big part of it, is that having a bias for action as a leader, and then developing that within a team, that, hey, we are gonna make some changes. We're going to take some calculated risk, make some changes, sometimes only changes on the margin, sometimes bigger changes, but we are going to change. We're going to improve in order to improve a product, improve a procedure, to innovate, to solve a problem. We are going to make decisions to change how we do things, and then we're going to put that into action. That's bias for action. We used to hear that people in the military are familiar with that term, bias for action, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, people in the military that are told that described as having a bias for action. That is one of the highest compliments that a person can get in the military, because it means they are driving the team, driving folks around this experiential learning cycle to get better and better at what they do, which involves taking risks for change, trying things that are not going to work, and being ready to accept that something didn't work, but that you still learn from that, and then you take that into a new reflection and try it again. The cycle goes on and on and on, right?
That's right.
Yeah, the teams that can get around this cycle of experiential learning, this experiential team learning cycle, are the ones that do best. So this leader task of analyze team learning capacity, this is the leader's ability to look at what their team is doing in the workplace, and figuring out where they're at on this cycle. Are they able to agree to reflect, right? Agree on the experience, see it the same way, that things can be better. Do the reflecting, do the deciding, doing the acting, deciding and acting quickly, bias for action to get new experience. Probably one of the most important leader tasks in our certification program. And everybody that's got some experience, all experienced managers in the workplace have experience with this. They may not have called it this. They may have never heard the term experiential team learning or experiential learning, but they have experienced this in the workplace as a leader, as a follower, without doubt. Everyone goes through this. So, a football team on Sunday has an experience. They win, they lose, they score whatever they score. The stats are what they are. At the end of that, the football coach doesn't say, hey, thanks, team, I'll see you next Sunday in Detroit. It says, I'll see you back home on Tuesday. Right. Because on Tuesday, we're going to get better and better at what we do. We are going to go through the rest of this cycle, reflecting, deciding, acting, in practice, watching the film, getting everybody's thoughts on what, reflecting on how everything went, how could we have done it better, making some decisions, maybe different starters next week, different set of plays, what have you, and then putting that into action, first in practice as a test, and then again, the final action in the game the following week, right? And so nobody can imagine a football coach only showing up Sunday at game time And managers in the workplace, it's not just about getting the work done.
Right.
The average manager can do that. It's not about just that. It's about getting the work done and getting better and better
Right.
at what the team does. Okay.
Right.
Leader test. We're going to cover 2 of the leader tests this week,
Mm-hmm.
and then the final 2 next week as part of it'll be facilitate team learning part 2 will be next week. So leader task number 2 of the 4, orient on team goals, right? And so,
Right.
Most HR systems are driven by individual, establishing individual goals and
Right.
metrics and so forth. People are very, worried about meeting their own individual goals in the workplace.
Mm-hmm.
Being held accountable to those. But the best teams, the best managers, the best leaders get their teams oriented on team goals, right? What we're doing collectively together, right? How do you explain this idea to folks when you're talking to them?
Well, I think everyone, to your point you just made, is that most people who go through it, they're very familiar with, okay, yes, I have an annual review, I have a goal sheet, things of that nature that's happening with me. But leaders can't be just comfortable with that and checking a block through HR, right? How do we as a team, how do we orient on team goals? What are our team goals? Where do we want to be? What do we want to get into? What do we want to do? We want to do more training? Is there some things and courses that people can go to learn more about that, to expand their knowledge in this field? These are the things that leaders should do, and they should have. And quite frankly, this is where we start talking also about stretch goals, right? I always told people, I said, look, there's always a parameter, right? So if you have an instructional system designer, I can't ask them to go figure out how ships harbor in rotation. Okay, that's not in their purview, right? I'm kind of outside the box. But if I said to my instructor and designer, I said, hey, have you done anything with like ChatGPT, as far as development of curriculum? Yeah, I've been looking into it. I'll tell you what, I want you to get into that, you and a couple others ISDs, and I'm going to put some things together, make it available, and then you all can go do this. I want to learn how we can get better and better. Oh yeah, we're in. So that's part of their performance. Why? Because I'm expanding the growth beyond what they do for more tools and resources. And we start talking about this. So that's a stretch goal is what we would call that, right?
Right.
I'm used to just writing curriculum. Now I'm going to have tools and resources I can reach out to and do that. So
right. As a team, right? As a team's goal, us
that's
collectively,
right. Goal. We're going to learn this.
How to do this. It's
right.
If you have a team of 5 salesmen, there might be 5 individual sales goals. And that's good. That's sort of encourages working in silos and not necessarily working collaboratively. But if leaders focus on the overall team goal, which is all of those individual goals combined, and maybe then some, right? Above, stretching above. If everybody has a goal of 5, and there are 5 of us, our team goal could be 25, or our team goal could be 28.
Right.
And I don't know where those extra 3 are coming from, but we're going to figure it out collectively along the way. And so somebody may well exceed their individual goal. Somebody else may fall a little bit behind. But as a team, as a unit, 25 was the sort of the minimum goal established by higher headquarters, perhaps, but we're going to stretch that up to 28 and shoot for that. And this idea of unity of effort is important. It says here.
Yes.
That's the idea. Those are all the things we were doing that leaders do to create a positive climate, develop cohesion, provide purpose. Those are the things that provide a unity of effort, that the team working together to get towards those, towards accomplishing those goals. I mean, it makes sense that, a sports team, if they don't have unity of effort, if they're not working collaboratively together as a team, if it's baseball, a superstar might hit 2 or 3 home runs in a single game. But if the team loses, well, then, who cares?
Right.
Big deal.
I did my job.
Right. I did my job and not good enough.
Right.
not good enough. And so that's where unity of effort comes in. You talked about stretch goals. Incremental goals are sort of eating the elephant a little bit at a time, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Because if the goals you're setting aren't kind of scaring people, right? If you set a team goal and everybody shakes their head and says, "Oh, easy day, boss," that's not a stretch goal, right? If you set a goal and people kind of look at you sideways and say, "Ooh, that's not going to be easy." I see some issues with us getting there right now. Well, welcome to the experiential learning cycle. So let's reflect on based on our, do we all agree that do we need to do some things differently, right? And so, goals, stretch goals, team goals should be a bit scary. They should be aspirational. They should be lofty, and one way to feel better about getting towards that is incremental goals, right?
That's
getting
correct.
A little bit done at a time. This is how I do chores on the weekend around the house, by the way, incrementally.
We don't need to run all the way to the end zone. I'm going to get us up to like the 40-yard line. Okay. So look what I did. Woohoo.
Yeah.
Right?
So,
little progress goes a long way. A little progress does go a long way.
Yeah. And the final bullet there that we didn't hit yet, leaders' intent. That's about, providing, purpose and some why behind getting after some of those goals. Maybe not just, some things seem, if it's a sales team, the higher goal, we're going to get big fat bonuses or whatever. Often it's not quite that simple.
Right.
Often it may be, it may be more complicated or nuanced than that, but leaders provide their intent. This is why we need to get to this goal. We're going to leave, the how is up to interpretation. There may be, more than one way to skin a cat, but the goal is, 5 skinned cats, and how we get there could be up for interpretation, right?
Right.
So, all right. So I think we covered us. Oriental team goals. Yep. Down through. Okay, that's it. So we've covered leader task 1, which was analyze team learning capacity, the capacity of the team to learn from experience. And leader task 2 was orient on team goals. This is 2 of the 4 leader task, and the facilitate team learning, which we're probably going to change the title of that to facilitate experiential team learning to be more specific. That the first 2 leader tasks in that competency domain. This is a competency domain that we, as part of our certification exams for experienced managers. This, coaching teams through the experiential learning cycle and orienting on team goals is not for, that's something that you begin to do when you're a more experienced man. You may get a taste of this when you're a frontline manager, right? But, to ensure that you have the experience to sit for the exam, that's where it's settled out at. For sure, there's no such thing as an experienced manager that doesn't have, has not been exposed to this. That's just not even, it's not possible, according to the job task analysis that we did.
Right.
So, Mark, next week, the next episode of Getting Certified is...
We're going to talk about encourage constructive dialogue.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about building new mental models.
Mental models. That's a big lofty term, right?
Yes, it is.
And it's got nothing to do with little plastic parts and glue.
No, not at all.
It's a different kind of model, right?
That's right.
So that's what we're going to be talking about next week. Facilitate experiential team learning, part 2. Encouraging constructive dialogue, building new mental models. That'll be next week, same time. For another episode of Getting Certified, which will be on Tuesday at noon Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern time, 1 p.m. all important Mountain time in Rapid City, South Dakota. And if you live in the Panhandle of Florida, where Emilio lives, it'll be 2 p.m. Central time. Is that right, Emilio?
That is true. I will say one caveat. According to most biologists, there's only really 2 main ways to skin a cat. It's either from the belly side or the back side. I don't want to go off on false information before we leave out here. Most biologists recommend just two main ways of doing it. So
two ways of so the
there's many ways.
There's more than one way to skin a cat is literally true. There are two ways.
It is, but there's definitely two main ways you should do it. You shouldn't just go out willy nilly do it. There's two main ways if you want to accomplish skinning a cat. So,
okay, so
just FYI,
and just to be clear, we're talking about like the big ferocious cats out in the wild, not
according to this article. It's a house cat.
Well,
we're doing house cats in this article. So
okay.
So our apologies to all the cat lovers in America.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I have to. I don't want to show this, but it's kind of funny. I have this article up by Vice. It's an article about skinny cats and all this other stuff. But right below it, I'm going to share it because I think it's worth a share because it is fun to watch. Just because, and we'll end on this because I think this is a good way just to do it because I think it's kind of funny. I changed it. I'm sorry, I changed the ad. It was an ad for cat food right below how to skin a cat. That was too slow. It swapped it real quick. It was a cat food advertisement right below this quote. So all right, never mind. I'll catch you next time.
I was afraid you were going to get us kicked off of Spotify there.
Yeah, exactly.
For a second. So all right. So for those of you that tuned in, thanks for showing up. Catch the you can find this recording on our RBLP Leadership Certifications YouTube channel, also on our Spotify channel with video, or iHeartRadio without video. Hence, it's called radio. Thanks, Emilio. Thanks, Mark, and I'll see you guys. I'll see you guys soon. I'll see everybody else on Thursday for maybe Thursday for I don't know if we're up this week or not, but typically Thursdays is getting the work done. But I'll definitely see you next Tuesday for another episode of Getting Certified. Thanks and have a good week.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.
RBLP. Learn more, lead better.
What are you guys still doing here? We're done. But we'll see you next week. In the meantime, check out our YouTube channel, even Spotify.